In the previous chapter, Nia and Jamal discovered a shocking secret. Jamal wasn't the prince but Nia. After this bombastic revelation, Zalika fled away in fear, but she would never give up on the kingdom that easily and would surely be planting something macabre to return to his own posted at any cost. This final chapter is a must-see. If I were you, I would certainly stay until the end, so I wouldn't miss any detail. If you're new here, click on the subscribe button below and activate the bell too. Be the first to receive news here on the channel. The night air carried an icy breeze, but it wasn't just the cold that made Nia shiver. There was an uneasiness taking root in his chest. The palace garden, lit only by torches scattered along the stone paths, seemed darker than usual. The leaves of the trees swayed gently, but for Nia that sound mixed with the voice of the letter she had just received. It's not over yet. You don't lose by waiting. Jamal approached. He noticed his worried look. Don't let it consume you. No, we're safe here. He tried to smile, but Nia couldn't return it. How could I be so sure? The palace seemed like an impenetrable fortress, but she had already learned that nowhere was safe when the enemy knew where to attack. Jamal, what if we're not? His voice was lower than he intended. Jamal sighed, running his hands through his hair. He understood the concern. After all, Zalika would never accept defeat so easily. But at the same time, it had been weeks since anyone had heard from the fallen queen. She had evaporated, as if fate itself had decided to wipe her from the world. If it was my mother, she would have done something already, Jamal said, trying to sound confident. She's not the type to send messages. She acts. Nia looked at her beloved with her eyes shining with uncertainty. What if this is exactly what Zalika wants us to think? Do you want to go back inside? He asked, watching her. Nia agreed, and soon they began walking back to the palace. She stopped for a second, looking around. The garden, once a haven of peace, now seemed like a labyrinth full of shadows. What was it? Jamal asked. I thought I heard something. Jamal squinted, taking in the surrounding bushes. Only the wind moved the leaves. Everything seemed normal, but that was the point. Everything seemed normal. Come on, he said, holding her hand. They entered the palace, but Nia didn't feel the relief she expected. Zalika was missing, but it wasn't a natural disappearance. She was waiting, observing, and Nia was sure that the former queen's silence was the biggest threat of all. What would the shrew be up to this time? Comment. Be careful, Nia, if you think Zalika will attack again. The next day, the sun had barely risen over the palace walls when the main gates opened to the unexpected arrival of a messenger. His horse, covered in dust from the long journey, was breathing heavily, and the man quickly dismounted, holding a scroll sealed with a golden coat of arms. The seal was unmistakable, belonging to Reino de Ukunda. The guards looked at each other before allowing the man to pass. The palace was still waking up, the silent corridors being filled with the sound of the messenger's hurried footsteps. He was escorted to the royal chambers, where Nia was already standing, watching the city from her balcony. The poorly slept night still weighed on his shoulders. He turned around when he heard the door open. The messenger, sweating and panting, knelt before her. Your Majesty, I bring an urgent message from the King of Ukunda. Jamal, who was sitting on the side, straightened up immediately. His sharp gaze met the Queen's, and a silent thought passed between them. Nia took the parchment, feeling the cool wax beneath her fingers before tearing it apart. Her eyes scanned the carefully written words. The King of Ukunda demanded an immediate meeting. She frowned, rereading the message. There was something different about the choice of words. Demanded. He didn't ask respectfully, but he demanded. Jamal stood up, taking the parchment from his hands and quickly reading it. He let out a heavy sigh. That can't be a coincidence, he muttered. There was something behind. Nia looked at the letter again. Ukunda had always been a powerful kingdom, but it had never directly interfered in Sinto's affairs. What would have changed now? Did the king mention the reason for this meeting? She asked the messenger. The man hesitated before answering. The king only said that it is a matter of great importance and that it cannot be dealt with by letter. Nia slowly walked around the room, her mind spinning with possibilities. The kingdom of Ukunda was known for its aggressive political strategy. If the king had been silent until now, but suddenly demanded a meeting, that meant he knew something. How long would it take for the king of Ukunda to reach Sinto? Jamal asked the messenger. 3 days' journey on. Horseback, Your Majesty, replied the man, still catching his breath from the long journey. Jamal crossed his arms, thoughtful. If it was just a diplomatic matter, He could have sent a representative, but he himself is coming. Nia exchanged a look with her husband, feeling a shiver run down her spine. Do you think this has to do with Zalika? Jamal didn't respond right away, but the truth was before them. Someone was moving the pieces on the board. Nia approached the messenger. Tell the King of Ukunda that we will be ready to receive him. The messenger nodded, visibly relieved at not having to receive a negative response. He bowed and hurriedly left, letting the silence grow between the two. Jamal held Nia's hand, his expression filled with concern. If he's coming in person, something isn't right. Nia nodded slowly. But if we refuse this visit, it could mean war. Jamal let out a heavy sigh. The kingdom had barely recovered from the last battle, and now another shadow appeared on the horizon. Then let's get ready, he said finally. But what awaited them with the arrival of the King of Ukunda was something that not even their worst nightmares could have imagined. Could it be that Ukunda was in league with Zalika, or was there an even greater threat lurking? If you're enjoying the ending of this story and want more, leave a like. So I know that you really like this type of content. Days later, Ukunda's royal carriage passed through the main gates. The guards opened the way, their spears raised in a respectful position, but their eyes attentive to every detail. It was rare for one monarch to visit another without prior notice, and the arrival of the King of Ukunda caused a silent buzz among the nobles and advisors who watched from the balconies. Nia was sitting on the throne waiting. His face was a mask of calm, but inside, his heart was pounding. The King of Ukunda was not a man of trivial gestures. If he had crossed the arid lands between the two kingdoms to meet her in person, it meant he was carrying something of extreme importance. The huge gates of the main hall opened, and he entered. He walked slowly, like someone who had absolute control of the situation. His golden cloak trailed across the polished floor, and his eyes assessed every detail of the room, as if weighing not only the architecture, but also the energy of the place. He smiled enigmatically as he looked at Nia. Do you feel comfortable sitting on that throne? The question cut through the silence like an invisible blade. Nia maintained her firm stance. It rightfully belongs to me. The king tilted his head slightly to the side, as if he was reflecting on that answer. Then, his lips curved into a new smile. He is sure? Nia felt a shiver run down her spine. The hall seemed to have become colder. She noticed Jamal shifting next to her, his presence strong and protective, but this time, not even he could hide his discomfort. If you're insinuating something, I suggest you say it at once, Nia said, her voice unwavering. The King of Ukunda let out a light sigh, as if he was enjoying the moment. Then he slowly walked towards the throne, stopping a few steps away from her. Zalika intends to attack you again, he said bluntly. The hall fell silent. The advisors looked at each other, some widening their eyes in shock. Jamal clenched his fists. Nia didn't blink. She knew this would happen, but hearing it from a foreign king made the threat seem even more real. This is nothing new to me, she replied, but perhaps that is, the king continued with a dangerous gleam in his eyes. She is not alone. What do you mean by that? Asked Jamal, his voice full of tension. The king clasped his hands behind his back as if he already knew this question was coming. There is another name involved. Who? The king smiled again, but this time there was no humor on his face. Ha, a traitor inside his own palace. The sentence hit Nia like a punch. For a moment, the world around him seemed to slow down. A traitor, someone inside the palace. His stomach turned. His mind raced, searching for suspicious names, voices, gestures. Every advisor, every guard, every servant that passed by her every day. Jamal leaned forward, his gaze furious. Are you telling us that someone close to us is helping Zalika? The king did not rush to respond. He liked the effect his words had. What I'm saying, Prince, is that Zalika, your mother, did not disappear. She just backed away. Someone is making sure you have everything you need, information, resources, loyal people, and that person is inside your palace. Nia closed her eyes for a brief moment, trying to process. When he opened them again, his expression was pure steel. Do you have a name? How are you so sure? The king smiled but did not respond immediately. Let's say, I have a hunch, he said enigmatically. Jamal stepped forward. So say it. The King of Ukunda gave a small sigh, as if he was considering whether he should reveal everything at that moment. The problem with betrayal, he began, is that betrayers are very good at hiding their true intentions until it's too late. Naya felt her blood boil. "If you came here to play charades, I don't have time for that." "Ah, but you need that time, Queen. Time is the only thing that can prevent Zalika from returning, and this time, stronger than ever." Nia's patience was running out. "If you want me to trust your words, I need something more than vague warnings." The king stared at her for a few seconds, then nodded. He gestured, and one of his men brought out a small parchment, sealed with dark wax. "Inside there is information that can help you find the traitor. But be careful." He handed the parchment to Nia, but his next sentence was barely a whisper. "The closer you get to the truth, the more dangerous it becomes." Nia held the parchment tightly. The king took a few steps back, returning to his entourage. "I did my part. Now it's up to you to decide what you will do with this information." Then he left, leaving Nia and Jamal even more tense. Nia looked at the parchment in her hands, feeling the invisible weight it carried. "Because I didn't know what I would find inside. But he was sure of one thing. If there was a traitor inside his palace, I would find it one way or another. Who will be cheating on Nia? Comment your theory and tell me who the most unlikely suspect would be." The palace, which was full of movement and formalities, was now plunged into a peculiar silence. Night had already fallen when Nia sat on the edge of her bed, feeling the weight of the last few days on her shoulders. The visit from the king of Ukunda had been unexpected, filled with tension and words that seemed to have hidden meanings. "Since he left, a restlessness has settled inside you." She closed her eyes for a moment, trying to push away the turbulent thoughts, but her body seemed burdened with a different tiredness, a deep exhaustion, as if every fiber of his being was more sensitive. Nia slowly stood up, walking to the open window, letting the cool night breeze caress her skin. Her stomach turned, and suddenly, an uneasiness came over her. Sudden, intense nausea. She held onto the edge of the window, breathing deeply, trying to calm her body. This wasn't just tiredness. In the following days, the symptoms became more evident. The smells were stronger, his hunger changed drastically, and the discomfort came and went like the waves of the ocean. It was then that she realized. Naya discreetly called in the palace healer, an elderly and experienced woman who had served the royal family for decades. The healer held Nia's hands gently and smiled softly. "Your Majesty, what you feel is not an illness. It's a new beginning." He felt the air lack for a moment. "Are you saying that?" The healer nodded. "She's expecting a child." Nia's heart skipped a beat. His world changed in that instant. For a moment, she didn't know how to react. Joy and fear mixed inside her. His son, an heir to Sinto. But at the same time, concern grew. What if this visit from the king of Ukunda was linked to this? What if he already knew? When he told Jamal, he stood still for a moment, his eyes wide, as if trying to absorb the magnitude of the news. Are you saying that?" Nia just smiled. It was then that Jamal lifted her into the air, spinning her around with a laugh full of happiness. "Let's have a baby," he exclaimed, loud enough for the echo to resonate throughout the room. The news spread quickly throughout the palace. The nobles celebrated, the servants whispered among themselves with discreet smiles, and even the soldiers raised their swords in salute. A new heir was on the way, but along with the joy came fear. If the king of Ukunda already knew, then perhaps his enemies knew too. And if they knew, the danger was greater than they ever imagined. Now, she wasn't just fighting for herself. She carried a life inside her, and that made her even more vulnerable. If Zalika already represented a danger before, now her threat was even greater. Nia knew that her pregnancy would be a symbol of hope for the people, but also an opportunity for her enemies. If before they wanted to overthrow it, now they would have even more reason to attack. Jamal noticed her concern and grabbed her shoulders. "I swear no one will hurt you," he said, looking into her eyes. "Neither you nor our son." She wanted to believe that, but something inside her told her that the danger was closer than they imagined. Nia was in the gardens, trying to find a moment of peace amidst the whirlwind of thoughts. The stars shone in the sky like little sparks of hope, but his heart remained restless. It was then that she heard rustling behind her. He turned slowly and saw one of the servants, a simple-looking woman, her eyes downcast but full of urgency. "Your Majesty," she whispered, looking around as if afraid of being seen. Nia frowned. What was it? The servant swallowed hard before continuing. Someone within the royal council was given gold to help Zalika with her plans. Nia's world seemed to spin for an instant. "What did you say?" The servant looked around once more, as if expecting the surrounding shadows to hide spies. "Someone very close to you is betraying the kingdom. Do you have a name?" His voice came out colder than he expected. The servant hesitated, shaking her hands nervously. "No, I don't, but I heard conversations. I saw coins exchanged secretly. Something big is about to happen, Your Majesty." Nia's heart was pounding. "Why are you telling me this?" The servant lowered her head. "Because I served Zalika in the past, and I know the way you act. I know she wouldn't give up so easily, and now that you're—" His eyes dropped to Nia's belly. "Now that she's expecting a child, she has even more reason to want the throne back." Nia felt her anger rising. She had fought so hard to earn her place. She had proven herself worthy of the throne, and now once again Zalika was trying to get everything out of her. "If someone is on her side, I'll find out." The servant curtsied quickly and disappeared into the darkness, leaving Nia alone with her thoughts. That night Nia returned to her quarters and found Jamal sitting at the table, analyzing maps and security reports. He looked up when he saw her enter and immediately knew something was wrong. "We have a traitor on the council." Jamal's expression hardened. He stood up slowly, closing his hands into fists. "Are you sure?" Jamal ran his hands over his face, trying to contain his anger. "This means that our every plan could be being passed on to her. And now that I'm pregnant, the situation has gotten even worse." Jamal paced the room like a caged lion. "We have to find out who it is," he said. "And fast. But how? We cannot simply accuse all the councillors. This would cause chaos within the palace." Jamal stopped, eyes shining with a thought. "So let's play their game. What do you mean? If there is a traitor, let's make him reveal himself. It may be dangerous. We are already in danger. Now let's turn the tables. The masks will fall, and the betrayal will be revealed. But is Nia ready to deal with the truth?" Comments for Nia. Jamal paced from side to side, his gaze filled with fury and determination. The palace had been on high alert ever since they discovered there was a traitor on the council. But he wouldn't wait for answers. He would get them, whatever the cost. He ordered all the kingdom's records to be searched. Nothing would go unnoticed. Personally, he went to the chambers of each high-ranking advisor, examining documents, checking trunks, and rummaging through shelves of parchment. If someone was helping Zalika, there was proof somewhere, and he found it. In one of the rooms, hidden inside a locked drawer, were letters written in dark ink and sealed with a discreet symbol. Jamal tore off the seals and began to read. Each word made his blood boil. The letters spoke of a meticulous plan to weaken Nia, spread doubt about her legitimacy, and, when the time was right, bring a new ruler to the throne. The royal council met in the great hall. The atmosphere was heavy, filled with distrust. Every glance exchanged was a game of invisible strategies. "What does that mean?" asked one of them, feigning indignation. Nia leaned forward, her gaze piercing. "It means one of you is helping Zalika." The hall was completely silent. One of the councillors cleared his throat, trying to regain his composure. "Your Majesty, these letters could have been forged." Nia smirked. "Interesting, because the documents were hidden in one of your rooms." This time, the silence was different. It was fear. Jamal pressed further. "These letters talk about a plan to remove Nia from the throne. They mention Zalika, but there is another name here, Zayed." The shock was instantaneous. Some councillors instinctively turned away, as if just the sound of that name could bring misfortune. Nia frowned. "Who is Zayed?" Until one of the older councillors finally responded. "He is a ghost from the past." "Explain." "Zayed is a former member of the royal family. He was exiled years ago because he always believed that the throne of Sinto should be his, but his desire for power blinded him. He tried to plot against the king himself. When they found out, he was banned, and no one heard from him again. But now it was back. He was not alone. The following days were tense. Zayed's revelation changed everything. Now, Nia and Jamal faced two enemies, Zalika, and a man the kingdom itself had tried to forget. Palace security has been reinforced. Guards patrolled each hallway, but still the danger was closer than they imagined. It was on a cold night, as Nia walked through the corridors, lit only by flickering torches, that everything changed. The silence of the night was disturbing. The sound of their footsteps echoed against the stone walls. He was returning to his quarters after another tiring meeting with the councillors when he heard a noise. She stopped, eyes sweeping the hallway. "Is there anyone there?" Out of nowhere, a shadow moved, quick, accurate and deadly. The blade gleamed in the torchlight. The blow was coming directly at her, but before he could reach her, a firm hand pulled her back. Jamal! He appeared like a bolt of lightning, his sword already drawn. The attacker hesitated for a second before retreating into the darkness, but it was already too late. When the guards arrived, all they found was a symbol drawn on the wall, an ancient coat of arms, the coat of arms of Zayed. He was already inside the kingdom, and now there was no doubt he wanted blood. The assassination attempt was a definite wake-up call. Someone inside the palace had allowed the attacker to enter. Jamal ordered a thorough search to be carried out. Nobody went out. Nobody entered. The next morning, the truth came out. One of the advisors was found hiding a bag of gold coins with Zayed's seal. Dragged to the throne room, he didn't try to deny it. He knew there was no escape. Before Naya and Jamal he knelt, his face pale with fear. "I confess, I worked for Zalika and Zayed." "Why?" The man lowered his head. "Gold buys many loyalties, Your Majesty." Jamal took a step forward, fury written all over his face. "Where is he?" The counselor slowly raised his head, a strange smile on his lips. Then he whispered just one sentence. "The real storm has not yet arrived." The guards took him away, but his words remained in the air. The real storm. Zayed was still outside, and he wasn't just waiting. How do you think Zayed will make his next move? Leave your guess in the comments. In the middle of all the chaos, surprise news arrives. The royal guards surrounded a small wooden hut, isolated from the rest of the houses. They found the flickering light of the fire inside the house, which illuminated the figure of Zalika sitting calmly, her hands bound by iron chains. But the expression on her face was not one of despair. It was a smile. Nia and Jamal were warned and arrived shortly after, accompanied by a group of elite soldiers. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the woman who for so long posed a threat to the kingdom. "We found her trying to hide," said one of the guards, but he offered no resistance. This information made Nia raise her eyebrows. Zalika was never one to surrender without a fight. "What's going on here?" Jamal asked, his voice thick with caution. Zalika just smiled and tilted her head to the side, as if she was amused by the situation. "My son, you betrayed me. How could you? But if you let me live, I'll tell you where Zayed is." For a moment no one said anything. The only sound was the wind passing through the trees. Could they trust her? Zalika always had her own plans. She always knew how to manipulate the game pieces in her favor. "Why should we believe you?" Nia asked, crossing her arms. Zalika let out a low laugh. "Because if you think I'm your worst enemy, girl, you're wrong. Zayed is much worse than me." Zalika took a deep breath. Her posture relaxed, as if she knew she had something valuable to trade. "He wants Naya dead. He doesn't mind governing Sinto," Zalika continued. "Wants to destroy everything that this kingdom represents. And you are the symbol of this change." Naya didn't accept the proposal and ordered the guards to arrest Zalika immediately. If you haven't already watched the previous chapters, click on the pinned comment and don't stop watching. Zalika's arrest brought brief relief to Nia and Jamal, but this feeling would be short-lived. The former queen's gaze, even chained, still carried a glow of victory, as if she knew something that they didn't. And confirmation of this came in the middle of the night. The first sign was the strange silence that took over the palace. The wind that used to blow through the halls seemed to have stopped. The air was heavy, charged with invisible tension. Then chaos began. The roar of war trumpets echoed off the walls of Sinto. The sound of clashing swords and shouts of warning spread throughout the night. Guards ran through the halls, their expressions filled with despair. Nia woke up to the sound of doors opening. A soldier entered, panting. "Your Majesty, we are under attack." His heart raced. Jamal was already on his feet, his sword in hand. The look they exchanged didn't need words. It was now. They ran to the palace balcony, and what they saw made Nia's blood run cold. Hundreds of soldiers dressed in Zayed's colors were pouring through the gates. But what caught her attention the most was something she didn't expect. Uganda's flag flew alongside Zayed's. "The king of Ukunda is with him," Jamal growled. Nia felt the floor disappear. So that was it. The king's visit, the enigmatic words, the insinuations. He was never there to warn her. He was just observing, assessing her weaknesses. And now he was attacking. The palace walls were surrounded. Sinto's archers fired arrows, trying to contain the enemy advance, but they were outnumbered. Zayed's army was larger, more prepared, and determined to take the throne. Nia felt a tightness in her stomach. She wasn't just fighting for her kingdom now. He fought for his son's life. Jamal pulled his hand away. "We need to get her out of here. I'm not running away. This isn't about pride, Nia." "You are the target!" She closed her eyes for a moment. His instinct screamed at him to fight, but Jamal was right. If they captured her, everything would be lost. It was then that a bang shook the palace. The gates were broken down. Zayed's soldiers were inside the walls. The attack was just beginning. And now, will Nia be able to escape? Will Zayed take the throne? Comment: the war has started. If you believe Nia and Jamal will win this battle. Jamal rushed her out of her room and took her to a secret hideout, and before they left, the palace was already turning into flames. Because the enemy had set everything on fire, Nia feared for her son's life. The flames consumed the luxurious carpets and climbed the golden columns of the palace. The air was thick with the smell of smoke, blood, and betrayal. At the center of the chaos, Jamal and Zayed faced each other in a duel to the death. Every blow, Jamal was fierce, driven by the rage of seeing his home attacked. But Zayed was not just any enemy. He was cunning, quick, and his eyes held the fury of someone who believed he had been robbed of his destiny. Nia watched the fight, hidden and feeling powerless, with her heart racing. She wanted to fight and end that monster that threatened her family, but her breathing was heavy, and her belly already carried new life. I couldn't risk it. It was then that a movement from Zayed made Jamal lose his balance. But before he could deliver the final blow, an arrow cut through the air and embedded itself in Zayed's shoulder. He screamed in pain and staggered back. Nia and Jamal looked up at the top of the stairs. It was Zahir. With his bow still raised, the warrior quickly descended the steps. "I thought you needed some help," he said with a discreet smile. Jamal took advantage of the moment of distraction and, with a quick movement, swung his sword and plunged the blade into Zayed's chest. The enemy's eyes widened. "No, it can be," he muttered as he fell to his knees. The shadow of his ambition crumbled with him. The castle shook around them. The fire spread, and the screams of enemy soldiers echoed through the corridors. The battle was won. Nia ran to Jamal, touching his face. Zahir helped them out before the ceiling collapsed on them. Outside, Sinto's army was already finishing containing the last enemy soldiers. The kingdom was safe, and the enemies were dead, because with the ruin of the castle, Zalika, who was trapped, could not resist, and also died buried. Months later, little by little, the ruins of the castle were rebuilt, and peace finally returned to the kingdom. The people celebrated the fall of their enemies. On a starlit night, the future has arrived. The screams echoed through the corridors, but this time they weren't about war. Nia held her newborn son in her arms. Jamal, by his side, could barely contain his tears of happiness. "He's perfect," he whispered. Nia smiled, exhausted but radiant. "Our heir, Sinto's true future." The kingdom celebrated the arrival of the new prince for days. Time passed, and the story of Nia and Jamal became legend throughout the kingdom. Sinto, once a place marked by war and betrayal, flourished under the rule of its true queen. Nia ruled with justice, wisdom, and a heart for her people. She was not just a queen, but a leader who understood the pain and needs of those who were once on the margins of society. The years brought even more joy. After the birth of her first child, Nia gave birth to 2 more children, further strengthening the royal lineage and ensuring a solid future for Sinto. Their children grew up strong, taught from an early age about honor, courage, and compassion. With Jamal by his side, Sinto underwent an unprecedented transformation. Roads were rebuilt, markets prospered, and the famine that once plagued the poorest became just a distant memory. The kingdom became a beacon of hope for the surrounding lands. People from all over came to Sinto, seeking refuge, opportunity, and a new beginning. Commerce grew, the arts flourished, and the city, which had previously lived in fear, became the most prosperous and happy place in all the surroundings. Zalika was never seen again. His name became a whisper in the wind, a warning to those who chose greed over loyalty. And so, as the years passed, Nia and Jamal saw their kingdom grow, their people smile, and their children become Sinto's new hope. On a peaceful night, with her hair already marked by time, Nia looked at the moonlit city and felt her heart warm. "It was worth it, Jamal. Everything was worth it." He smiled, holding your hand, "and it will always be worth it, because this is our story." Nia's legacy would be remembered forever, True royalty is not in the blood, but in the choices we make. Nia chose justice over revenge, compassion over fear, and love over power for power's sake. Just like her, we all face challenges that seem impossible, but it is our inner strength that defines who we really are. Never let fear steal your destiny. Your courage can change everything. Did you like Nia's story? Then you'll love what I prepared for you. Click on the next video that's appearing here on the screen and watch it.